But yeah, I mean, I told Pastor Gary, because he asked me about it, I said, you know, that's why there's a lot of people who do meditation and they have certain vibrations that they make with their voices. It's all energy, right? And the scientists who study how all matter is in physical existence basically come down to the fact that everything is a form of spiritual energy. But where is it all created from? So if we're all spiritual in nature and you create, you know, sounds create too. So basically thoughts create. There's a lot of things that create. So it's just a form of, again, energy. How someone like John puts music together to allow healing to happen. There's many forms of it, and that's why, you know, it's in pretty much a lot of cultures. Foreign to a lot of people though, because people don't understand it. They think it's, you know, they think meditation is a form of some other religion. It has really nothing to do with that if you understand that we're all spiritual in the first place. So it's fascinating when you get attracted to certain type of music, right? There's why do certain people like certain types of sounds, certain type of music? Because again, it resonates with, you know, how it makes them feel good, and that's all part of health too, right? Okay. So we're start from the beginning, but we're gonna, you know, lay the foundation to some principles that just aren't taught today in regards to health. But we do have everything we need to be healthy within the original design of every man, woman, and child. Okay? One of the things that we're taught to believe is that we are missing something. So today, for instance, I talked to somebody who was a medical physicist, and I had to ask him, you know, what he did for a living. And he said, I'm a medical physicist, and I never heard the word. So I said, well, what is that? I said, what do you do? And then he goes, I do radiation therapy on cancer patients. Oh gosh. So anyway, they're on the other side of health called sickness, right? And just think about how, you know, I just think about how barbaric that is, that we have to use radiation to try to help people. And it just literally damages the body. But again, you know, I think people are so lost with health today that they're willing to subject themselves to things like that. Nobody really wants to do it, but if, you know, your doctor says this is the last straw, I mean, that's why people do it, right? But anyway, it was a good conversation, but it wasn't about health. Him anyway. Yeah. It will be one day though. Okay. So human health is inside out and not outside in. The entire world pretty much is on the basis of outside in health. And I'll start to lead you along with that to help you understand when you're making decisions with regards to health, is it from the outside or from the inside? And if it's from the outside, it's really not true health. Okay. So we're going to talk about chiropractic first with inside out health and microbiome. Okay. So as Pastor Gary said, I used to do a lot of seminars for chiropractors globally for about 10 years, actually. But with patients first, and that's kind of how it started. Patients, again, like most average people, are always looking for help. They're always looking for answers, and they're really confused, right? As time goes on, as the internet has become available to us all, how many of you have just searched the internet for whatever health topic that you wanted to look up, or you thought you had a particular diagnosis and you looked up everything and then you just got lost in it?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's pretty much everyone today. So we have to make sense of that, because again, there's too much information that's confusing people today. We have physical workouts in the clinic at 6 o'clock. You are all welcome to join us. I also taught people how to eat, and we actually had food workshops. I don't do them anymore, so to those of you started late. But yeah, when the clinic was up and running, when I was pretty much devoting my entire life into full-time practice, that's kind of how we ran. But it was really fun because it was a huge family, and we had so much fun together.
For sure.
If you see in the back there, though, you see this is an X-ray view box. And it always would have a patient of the month where they would have their x-rays of before and after. They would have their picture and their story of what happened to them while they're under care. And that's basically the foundation that, again, held everything together. So we'll talk about that chiropractic first. Your health starts with it, okay? There's a principle that the power that made the body heals the body. We don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that we're being created and recreated on a moment-to-moment basis, right? It's called regeneration. Your cells all regenerate, with the exception of some brain cells. So you're constantly replacing yourself as we speak, okay? How are you doing that? If you did that at 100% from the original blueprint or design, would there be any problems with any of it? No, right? Because whoever gave us this blueprint, did he make it faulty or she make it faulty in the beginning? No. Okay, so it's the expression of who you are. This power, we call it innate intelligence because it's really smart. It's an inner intelligence that, again, runs everything. It's God's intelligence working inside of you. It regenerates all the cells that makes you up, provides and coordinates for all body function, and this is a big one here. It never makes a mistake. See, we're programmed from doctors to think that our body made a mistake and that we have to undo it with some sort of drastic, radical procedure, surgery, chemotherapy, drugs, etc. Okay? That's where we get tricked. So here, man's wisdom makes the biggest mistake, not knowing or even acknowledging innate intelligence. Because how is it possible for a drug to make the very intelligence that makes up who you are better? Is it possible to do that? Can radiation make innate intelligence better? Right. Those are all outside-in therapies or treatments. Okay? Innate uses power or life force to carry out its design, instructions, and coordination in the body. It's not mystical at all. We know that we have something that animates all these physical cells. Something has to create this in the physical realm, plane, or world. Life force flows through the nervous system. Okay? The nervous system is called the master system of the body. It includes your brain, spinal cord, and your nerves. So it's one unit: brain, spinal cord, and nerves. Okay? Power that animates all living cells and controls all functions of the body flows through the nervous system. So everybody knows that if I took the nerves right at the base of the spine, where again your brain transitions into the spinal cord. The spinal cord is the extension of your brain. It comes down between the vertebrae, hole in your spine, if you will, and then little exits out of the side of the spine. The nerve openings is where these nerves go out and they create all these tissues that make you up and provide for all the functions. So if I were to take the nerves right here to the base of the spine at the heart level and cut them all off, what would happen to your heart? It will not be able to be recreated because it's cut off from the intelligence that makes you, and it uses the nerve system to do that, right? Okay, so how important is it for you to have 100% nerve flow from brain to the cells and back on up for regulation? That's who you are,
Yeah.
right? But your nerve system isn't only what physically makes you. Your nerve system, which includes your brain, is who you are in personality, your emotions, and your intellect. However, if you affect any part of the nerve system anywhere, you always affect the whole, and that's what's called holistic health. Physical and emotional, intellectual health together. Okay? So your spine has everything to do with that. And how many people take care of their spine on a regular basis to make sure they're whole? Hardly anyone.
Right.
That's why I'm talking to you today. Okay? When this power flows to the nervous system freely at 100%, it creates you at 100% no exception. This is your origin. So power flowing freely at 100% really is your God-given blueprinted destiny. Everyone has a perfect destiny that whoever created us, that's your personal beliefs, but again, God, right? Did he make a mistake in your blueprint?
No.
Okay, so is your blueprint being expressed to the full potential of how he wanted it? That's the question we have to ask. And if it's not, why is it not? Right? Power that flows through the nerve system is preserved and protected by your spine. That's why it's in the middle of the whole thing. When your spine is not aligned, see how crooked that is in the bottom there? When your spine is not aligned, this power that makes you and heals you is less than 100%. So are you. Physically, emotionally, intellectually. You get that?
Yep.
So chiropractic removes interference to release this power from within. Not all chiropractors, unfortunately, just a small percentage of them. We will get into that as to the why. So we maintain our teeth for life. How many people go to the dentist only when, my teeth hurt, now I need to see a dentist? It would be pretty bad if that was your practice, right? But why do people do that with the spine? See, when your spine already hurts, how badly is your nerve system damaged that affected everything that you are previous to that, right? That's more important. So that's why we take care of babies from the start, right? When is the nerve system important to make us who we're supposed to be? Day one, right? Okay. Really critical problem in all ways. So the chiropractic 101 part will help you understand that. Poor spinal health equals poor body function. When you see the curvatures of this person's spine, it's a woman obviously. Why do we know it's a woman? Anyone? Come on, ladies.
Less ribs?
No, less ribs. No,
No, that would be a
Adam would have.
Adam would have less ribs.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He has one left.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I flipped it. Yeah.
That's the bra strap. Come on.
Oh, I can't.
There you go.
But anyway, see, if I had to just try to stand like that, do you think this is going to take a lot of muscle energy to do this?
Yeah.
How about the nerve flow though? Is it possible for the nerve flow to be easy from the brain to the body and the back on up? Or is there some sort of confusion in this whole process?
Yeah.
So when the spine is crooked, it causes what we term dis-ease or lack of ease or lack of, again, creation. Your spiritual being is not hooked up 100% to your physical being. Do you realize your nerve system is what makes you from the spiritual to the physical person? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Makes sense.
So, as well as an early death. So it affects everything about us. But it's not just death in terms of time frame. It's death because you're not 100% alive in expression from the creator standpoint. Okay, so how important is chiropractic when I explain it this way? Okay? So we get traumatized big time day one in a modern hospital because this is how they deliver babies. Now, those of you who had children, would you do this to your newborn? Would you put that kind of force to your newborn? So if there is trauma to the human spine day one, when should the spine be checked for problems?
Right. Right from the beginning.
Then no forceps and back knee extraction and all that. But again, 80% of the time, this term called subluxation, where the spine gets out of alignment and it interferes with the whole nerve system, happens from the birth process and stuff from medical doctors. So life in itself causes spinal misalignments. We talk to people about how they sit, how to sleep, and all these different activities. Because again, we are living beings affected by a law called gravity, right? So crossing your legs, that's a way to make your spine crooked, sleeping on your side, falls and injuries, I mean, on and on and on. Just static things too. So we really have to, again, learn how to take care of our spine because it's the only one we've got. And if it affects everything that we are in expression of ourselves, then again, even more important. Misalignments then cause nerve interference. Nerve interference equals less life. Okay? General term, again, in chiropractic is called subluxation. Two types of chiropractors, and again, only a corrective chiropractor would be showing you a slide or teaching you that there's two different types. Simply because the medical industry created symptomatic chiropractic because they were afraid to allow the truth of health to come out to the world back in the early 1900s when the AMA was formed with the sole intent to wipe out chiropractic because the first chiropractor adjusted a man who was deaf for 18 years and got his hearing back for the rest of his life after a few adjustments. Anyway, so when they formed the first chiropractic college, half of the students were medical doctors, and Rockefeller, who's the banker who formed the first establishments of hospitalization, big pharma and all that, said we want nothing to do with this and we've got to eradicate them. So again, years of court battles indicate all the conspiracy of what they've done to chiropractors all these years. But again, most people know chiropractors only to be back paying doctors because that's what the medical insurance industry through the AMA created a perception to be. So again, there's a lot of things in our life that the financial industry, the medical, they're just not true at all. They're very harmful for you in terms of taking from you and just, some people who are controlling and are winning. So we really have to learn the truth about a lot of things because again, if we did know the truth about health, would we all be healthy? A lot healthier.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we knew the truth about true finances, would we have financial issues? Okay, so again, we just don't know. It's pretty obvious. So again, that's what we have to understand is that we've been led astray. Okay, and I think
Yep.
I know about that. So this is a classic example. I mean, we have thousands of x-rays and re-x-rays. I should bring some to you next time and just go over just the whole x-ray and re-x-ray slideshow. But this is a classic example of a person who first came in, took an x-ray, and he denied the fact that this was his own spine in the beginning, and I had to, you know, have him open his mouth and prove that dental records were his. But anyway, so he was crooked like this for 50 years because I told him you have really big bone spurs where you see those arrows pointing. He has bone spurs sticking out the spine an inch long. So if you're standing like this for any length of time, bone spurs are going to grow because it's just stressful. Okay?
Yeah.
Why did he not know he was crooked in the first place? How many people don't know the alignment of their spine?
Right.
Pretty much everyone, right? That's why it's important to get a checkup in the first place. But again, 50 years, I estimated this man at 62 years of age when he came, he was like this. But he had all kind of health problems, and I told him, well, if your spine is badly damaged and the vertebrae are literally squishing together and the nerve holes getting smaller and smaller, is it possible for you to get 100% life and function to your body parts? Right? So I said, have you ever asked yourself why you have all these problems? Are you just lucky or unlucky? Do you have a bad diet? Well, who else has one worse than you? So again, you have to make sense about what health is. It's not from the outside, it's what you think. I'm not saying diet's not important or your habits, but again, it's more important for you to be healthy from the nerve system standpoint that helps you to adapt to your environment, good or not. He also had, again, a kidney stone. You see that big white spot in that box? He didn't feel that yet. So the reality is, how many people walk around every single day and have major diseases in their body? They're waiting for the first day they feel something wrong, but how long were they actually diseased? And the disease was in there and they didn't know.
Yeah.
Right? That's the truth. And then people are just taking time bombs, right? The day you feel the symptoms, you have the disease for decades long. When did the disease start, though, in terms of not having health? Disease process starts the first day you have any interference from brain and body. You get that one? Okay, so his recommendations was a correction plan. Now, again, if this was your spine, how many visits would you demand a chiropractor to have you get this corrected in? Because I hear so much about chiropractic, right, from all different viewpoints. Well, chiropractor told me I have to come for a year, or you have to tell me I have to come 3 times a week. You know, it should have been fixed in one visit. Can you fix that in one visit? What do you want to get fixed? Do you want your back pain to get fixed, or would you like that to get fixed?
Right.
Right? So what's the perception that people have? It's misperception is what it is, okay? So, 5 years of correction I recommended for him. We took an x-ray initially, and then 3 months later, and voila, Jerry was a happy man. So was I. I was even more happy than him, I think.
That's
but
amazing.
anyway.
That's 3 months, Dr. Bruce?
Yeah, 3
Wow,
months.
that's excellent.
Okay, so he was off all of his medication within 12 months. Of course, after 3 months, he still came, because again, why would you not want to continue health of your spine? If you go to the dentist and you get a clean bill of health with your teeth, congratulations, no cavities. Do you just stop brushing your teeth and seeing a dentist? Again, why would you do that with a chiropractor? Again, think of everything that makes sense, not what people are saying, why things don't work or whatever their opinion is. Okay, so I'm just trying to teach you what spinal health is and what you need to do. Most people don't know that they need a chiropractor to stay healthy, right?
Yeah.
And why? You need a dentist. We've been convinced of that for whatever reason, right? So in the clinic, we had a drug box where people just started unloading all of their drugs. And again, my job wasn't to get them off drugs, because did I put them on? I don't even have a license for that. But they got healthy because the inside started working better, okay? And again, I just don't know of any doctor who does this or even talks about, you know, patients getting well without really having to change much other than to get their spine healthy, okay? So here are some of the chiropractors that went to jail because the AMA just attacked chiropractors and convinced and bought, if you will, the lawmakers to say that chiropractors were illegally practicing medicine without a license. And us chiropractors in the early days said, no, we have nothing to do with medicine. The power to make the body heals the body. We adjust the spine, body heals itself. but they made us go to jail for what they wanted to monopolize. So the chiropractor started adjusting in the jail, wardens, prison guards, and patients came down. Okay? Patients demanded that their chiropractor, they called us their doctor, get out of jail. They went to every state capital and demanded a separate license for chiropractic, and that's how we are still here today. Imagine the adversity. This is in the 20s and 30s. Okay? So here's some spinal education. This is a neck looking this way. You see the jaw? You should have a nice arc in your neck. And what degree arc should that be? It should be 60 degrees. Why? Because we have gravity pressing on us, right? And our head is heavy. And if you think you're really smart, your head is heavier. But anyway, doesn't it make sense from our creator standpoint that we have a curve here to distribute that bowling ball like a spring?
Yeah.
There's two other curves, opposite middle back and forward in the lower back. And when those are all at 60 degrees, your spine is weightless and it will never degenerate. It'll never affect your nervous system and you'll stay healthy. Ta-da!
Yep.
Right. And then doctors get you to believe, no, you're supposed to get arthritis because that's why. That's why you're old. That's why you have arthritis, because you're old. Right? That's what they tell us, and we believe those things. You're supposed to have hip replacement surgery and damaged knees when you get, because you're just getting old. Your parts are getting old. It's like, what? If I'm like this, I'm definitely going to be degenerating not only in my spine, but you understand how my hips have to compensate, and now my knees are different, and everything's going to wear out. That's the reason why. It's because you're crooked. Right? Your joints are straight. Movement helps them stay alive and healthier. The older you get really is irrelevant. But again, we're taught all kinds of different things, aren't we? Anyway, so when your spine's crooked, it goes into this degenerative process. So this is what we call the first phase of degeneration. If you see how straight that neck is in red, but it's supposed to be in green, see that dot there? That's calcium growing in between the bone. Now, if we leave the spine in this position, how big is the calcium going to grow in the area of stress? More, right?
Yeah.
And that's the arthritis process. It's being out of alignment over time under gravity. There's the second phase. So can you see how the arrow is pointing to a bone that's really sharp on the end? So if you were to take that vertebra out of the spine, right? But if you take it out of the spine, you'll see jagged edges, bones actually growing, because bones grow in areas of stress and strain. That's really all it is. If your spine is aligned properly, then the vertebrae get all the calcium that's again, flowing through your body. It gets stacked properly and your bones are really strong. Osteoporosis isn't caused because you lack the process of getting calcium to your bone. It's because you don't have good posture and the bones are growing in front. The calcium is getting deposited in front, not in the strong part of the bone, and your bones are going to collapse. So anyway, we just have to make sense of things because we're going to talk too many things that aren't true. So the next phase, this is phase 3. The next phase after this is just called fusion. But look how flat those bones are. Do you realize that these vertebrae have compressed? They've gotten shorter. So what happened to that person's physical height as well? They shrank too. Now, when people go to the doctor says, oh, you lost a couple of inches or an inch and a half or whatever it is. Do people ever ask why?
No.
Okay, then tell me what people assume where they lost their height from. Was it? No, but where?
Oh.
Is it their legs that they shrank?
No.
What made them get shorter? Their spine. Now, realize this, if the spine is getting compressed and getting damaged, is it harming the nervous system perhaps?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so how does that correlate to a person's health? It's such an important thing for us to understand that this is not a normal process of aging. This is because the person has been crooked for way too long, right? So here's a condition that layman's term is called forward neck knee. The scientific term is called hyperkyphosis. You can see there too much hump. They've already done the studies and they say that this particular posture will take 15 years off your life. It predicts mortality or death. Okay. Now, how much more energy would that be just for me to do this and stand like this for the rest of my life? Right? And that's going to take away energy from what? My brain's ability to think, heal, and run all my body parts. Right? Because if I It's just like this. If I hold a 5-pound weight in my hand all day long, I could do that, right? How about for 10 years? How about for 20 years? Okay, just think of the taxing that will do. And the same thing that happens to the human spine when it's, again, not in the right place. Again, most people just aren't in the right place because they don't know anything about how to care for their spines. An X-ray of what this particular posture would look like from the neck would be exactly like this. This is not the same person, but an example of what the alignment would look like. Green is where the person's neck is supposed to be, red is where it is. Okay? I want you to start looking at everyone you know, especially the ones you love and care for. Look at them from the side. If they have this going on, they need some help. Here's why. This person was a part of a study, and I have a book, and it's basically an atlas of subluxation. They have x-rays of individuals when they die, and they have cross sections so you can see the correlating spinal damage to damage directly to the nerve system, in particular the spinal cord. Now again, the spinal cord is a lifeline to the entire body, right? If I damage the spinal cord in the neck, what areas can the brain not heal at 100% below that? Everything, because healing is from above down. That's it's a principle that's spiritual too, right? But anyway, so here's what this person's damages, and you can see how much damage is in the spine. So that neck hasn't been there for a short time is what I'm trying to say, right? Because of that, there's the person's spinal cord. The white thing is the spinal cord of the lifeline. Look how many places this literally is smashed into. Look at the compression right there. So if I took your spinal cord and it was this big in diameter and it sent every bit of life to your body and regulation from the brain, and I squeezed it halfway and said, try to live a healthy life. How many things from the outside could you do to make that better?
Nothing.
Could diet work?
No.
Exercise?
No.
Drugs?
No.
Herbs? I mean, you can literally name every single thing you want. I'm trying to teach you health. And this is where it starts, and this is also where it ends. We can take care of the other stuff later, but we've got to be healthy from the inside. Good food. How important is good food if your nerve system's all interrupted? Right?
Yeah. Makes sense.
So just like this, again, this is the last concept, but again, we have an intelligence within. We're a beautiful image, but there's an image that has to project, right? So just like this, there's a computer that holds the image, but then from a computer, or the old type, right, it's not wireless, but we have a cable so we can see it on the screen. Well, the analogy of having a crooked spine is having a cable that's damaged. What is the image actually going to look like? If the image is still perfect, because your image is perfect from the beginning, right? But the cable is damaged or your spine is damaged, we're going to get a funny image. Yeah?
Right.
So when we have symptoms from those problems, right, we go to the doctor will go, oh, I got the solution for you. It's called whatever drug you can't pronounce, spell, or look up and still confused about, right? It's white paint. Let's paint all these screens white. Oh gosh, didn't we fix you?